Okay, so greetings everyone and welcome to MPE 204, no, Executive Leadership and Supervisory Development. No. This course no, transcend theoretical knowledge. It focuses on equipping you to lead individuals, no, processes, and institutions within intricate real-world context. No. So commencing today, no, I want you to perceive this class as a leadership laboratory whereby your experiences, decisions, and reflection will influence the type of executive and public leader no, you are evolving into. So this semester, our objective is to advance your thinking no, from task management to purposeful, ethical, and strategic leadership. Okay, so I think no need for us to have this one. So later on, I will share a Google Sheet, no, wherein you just simply put your academic background and at the same time your present job, no, or occupations. Okay, so allow me to introduce myself, no, formally. So I am Dr. Marmilo Abante, and I will be handling your course this semester. So I come from a multidisciplinary academic background, no, spanning computer science, IT, engineering, business, public admin, education, and right now I am in the third year level for my Juris Doctor. No? And emerging fields such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and data science. No? I shared this not to impress, no, but to emphasize that leadership today is interdisciplinary. No? Effective executive leaders must understand systems, people, technology, governance, and ethics simultaneously. So this course is grounded in that same integrated perspective. So as what I have here, a postgraduate degree and my honoris causa doctorate degree. Okay, so again, this course is designed to give you an in-depth understanding of executive leadership and supervisory competencies essential in both public and private organizations. So we will examine leadership theories, no? Emotional intelligence, strategic decision making, ethical governance, and change management. At the same time, we will strengthen your supervisory skills, no? Communication, team leadership, performance management, and problem solving. So by the end of this course, you should not only understand leadership concepts, but also be capable of crafting evidence-based leadership and supervisory action plans applicable, of course, to your workplace. So these learning outcomes no, define what you should be able to do by the end of the semester, not just what you should know. Oh, so you are expected to analyze leadership situations critically, apply executive leadership frameworks, demonstrate ethical decision making, and design a supervisory strategies that improve organizational performance. So every activity, case study, and assessment in this course is aligned with this outcome. So I strongly encourage you to revisit this course outline or course intended outcomes regularly no, as guide for your learning. Okay? Now, so as what I have here, during this will be the course content actually. No? So number one, of course, the topic number one focus on foundation of executive leadership. Because no, executive leadership focuses on setting direction, shaping organizational purpose, and ensuring long-term sustainability. No? Unlike supervisor or managerial roles that emphasize day-to-day operation, executive leadership involves strategic visioning, policy influence, and institutional accountability. Because leaders at this level are expected to guide organizations through complexity, uncertainty, and competing stakeholders' demand. This topic introduces leadership as a responsibility rather than a privilege. Okay? Executive leaders are accountable not only for results but also for how those results are achieved. So in public administration, leadership decisions carry broader implications for governance, public trust, and social outcomes, making executive leadership inherently ethical and service-oriented. You are encouraged to view executive leadership as a continuous learning process. No? Leadership effectiveness evolves through experience, reflection, and responsiveness to changing organizational and societal context. Now, this foundation set the tone for the entire course by emphasizing leadership as both a skill set and a moral obligation. Topic number 2, focus on evolution of leadership thought, classical to contemporary theories. So, leadership theories have evolved in response to changes in organizational structures, workforce dynamic, and societal expectations. Now, early theories such as trait and behavioral approaches focus on individual characteristics and observable behaviors, assuming leadership effectiveness was largely innate or uniform across situations. Contemporary theories, including transformational, servant, adaptive, and distributed leadership, recognize leadership as relational, contextual, and dynamic. These perspectives emphasize empowerment, ethical influence, and adaptability, rather than command and control authority. Understanding this evolution helps leaders appreciate why rigid leadership models are no longer sufficient in modern organization. This topic encourage critical analysis rather than theoretical memorization. You learn to assess leadership theories as tools that must be applied selectively based on context, organizational culture, and public sector realities. So effective leaders integrate insights from multiple theories to respond to complex leadership challenges. Okay? Topic number 3, focus on leadership style and situational leadership approaches. Why do I need to give you inputs per topic? Of course, for you or for the presenter to know what we'll expect for this topic. Okay, so for topic number 3, again, leadership style describes consistent patterns of behavior leaders used when guiding others, such as autocratic, democratic, transformational, or laissez-faire approaches. Again, each style has strengths and limitations depending on organizational conditions and follower readiness. So, situational leadership emphasizes flexibility, requiring leaders to adjust their approach based on task complexity, employee competence, and motivation. And this approach recognizes that effective leadership is not static, but responsive to human and organizational dynamics. The students are guided to assess their dominant leadership style and understand when adoption is necessary, because in public administration, situational leadership is especially critical due to diverse teams, regulatory constraint, and varying stakeholder expectation. Topic number 4, focus on emotional intelligence and self-awareness in leadership. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotion in oneself and others. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to handle stress, manage conflict, and foster positive working relationships. Now, self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Leaders who understand their emotional triggers, strengths, and limitations can regulate their behavior and make more balanced decisions. This is particularly important in leadership roles where emotional reactions can influence organizational climate. And this topic highlights emotional intelligence as a core competency rather than a soft skill. Now, in public sector leadership, emotional intelligence support judgment or ethical judgment, empathy, and trust building, all of which are essential for effective governance and collaboration. Topic number 5, focus on values-based and authentic leadership. Values-based leadership emphasizes decision-making grounded in ethical principles such as honesty, fairness, and responsibility. Leaders are expected to act consistently with their values, even in challenging or politically sensitive situations. Excuse me. Authentic leadership builds on this foundation by stressing alignment between a leader's values, actions, and communication. So, authentic leaders demonstrate transparency and consistency, which strengthens credibility and trust among followers. And this topic reinforces the idea that leadership, legitimacy comes from integrity rather than position. In public administration, where leaders serve the public interest, value-based and authentic leadership are essential for maintaining institutional credibility and moral authority. Topic number 6, focus on strategic thinking and executive decision-making. Strategic thinking involves analyzing complex environments, anticipating future trends, and aligning decisions with long-term organizational goals. Because executive leaders must balance immediate demands with strategic priorities to ensure sustainability. Executive decision-making requires judgment under uncertainty, often with incomplete information and competing interests. Leader must weigh risk, resources, and ethical implications while remaining accountable for outcomes. And this topic trains you as a student to think systemically and strategically rather than reactively. In public administration, strategic decision-making support effective policy implementation, resource allocation, and organizational resilience. Topic number 7, focus on evidence-based decision-making in public administration. Evidence-based decision-making emphasizes the use of data, research, and systematic analysis to inform leadership choices. And this approach strengthens objectivity and reduces on intuition or political pressure alone. Evidence-based leadership promotes transparency, again, accountability, and informed policymaking. Leaders are expected to evaluate data critically and consider empirical findings when designing programs or reforms. So this topic equips you with analytical skills necessary for modern governance. Through integrating evidence into decision-making, leaders enhance credibility and improve the quality and impact of public services. Topic number 8, focus on change management and leadership adaptability. Change is constant feature of modern organizations driven by policy reforms, technology advances or technological advances, and societal shifts. So change management focuses on guiding individuals and organization through these transitions effectively. Leadership adaptability involves responding constructively to uncertainty and resistance. Now, leaders must communicate change clearly, involve stakeholders, and address emotional and structural barriers to transformation. And this topic emphasizes that successful change depends on leadership behavior. Adaptable leader foster resilience, maintain morale, and ensure continuity of service while navigating organizational change. Topic number 9, focus on influencing, persuasion, and negotiation skills. Executive leaders rely on influence rather than authority alone to achieve organizational goals. Persuasion involves ethical communication, credibility, and understanding stakeholder interests. Negotiation skills are essential for resolving conflicts and achieving mutually beneficial outcomes. So leaders are often negotiate with employees, unions, policymakers, and external partners. And this topic prepares students to manage relationship strategically. No? Effective influence and negotiation, enhance cooperation, protect organizational interests, and support sustainable decision making. Topic number 10, ethical leadership and social responsibility. Ethical leadership requires leaders to prioritize integrity, fairness, and accountability in decision making. Because ethical dilemmas are common at the executive level where decision often affect large groups or public resources. Social responsibility extend leadership accountability beyond organizational boundaries. Leaders are expected to consider the social, environmental, and long-term impacts for their actions. So this topic reinforces leadership as moral stewardship. In public administration, ethical leadership ensures that authority that authority is exercised responsibly and in the public interest. Topic 11, focus on governance, accountability, and public sector ethics. Governance structures define how authority and responsibility are distributed within organization. Effective governance ensures transparency, checks and balances, and ethical oversight. Okay. Accountability requires leaders to answer for decisions, actions, and performance outcomes. In the public sector, accountability mechanisms protect public trust and institutional integrity. So this topic emphasizes ethical governance as the foundation of effective public administration. Leaders who uphold accountability, strengthen legitimacy, and public confidence in government institutions. Okay. Topic number 12, leadership communication and executive presence. So leadership communication involves conveying ideas clearly, confidently, and purposefully. Executive presence reflects how leaders project credibility, professionalism, and authority through communication and behavior. So effective communication enables leaders to align teams, manage change, and influence decision acceptance. And take note, or poor communication, on the other hand, can undermine trust and organizational cohesion. And this topic highlights communication in a strategic leadership tool. Strong executive presence enhances influence, foster confidence, and support effective leadership at the executive level. Okay. Topic number 12, okay, focus on personal leadership development and self-mastery. So personal leadership development focuses on the intentional, take note, intentional cultivation of skills, values, and behaviors necessary for effective leadership. Self-mastery involves understanding one's strengths, limitations, motivations, and leadership tendencies. Okay, so this topic emphasizes that leadership effectiveness begins with personal discipline and self-awareness rather than authority or position. Leaders who practice self-mastery are better able to regulate emotions, manage priorities, and respond thoughtfully to challenges. So in executive and public sector roles, this ability support ethical judgment, consistency, and resilience. Personal leadership development therefore becomes a foundation of credibility and long-term leadership effectiveness. So this topic encourage students to view leadership growth and as a continuous process. So this topic encourage, of course, not only encourage students, but through self-assessment and reflection, you are guided to take ownership of their development, aligning personal values with professional responsibilities and public service commitments. No? Topic number 14, reflective practice and continuous leadership improvement. Yes. Reflective practice involves deliberately examining one's experiences to gain insight, no, and improve future actions. Leaders who reflect regularly are better equipped to learn from success, no, and failure. And this topic highlights reflection as a disciplined leadership habit rather than a casual activity. Continuous leadership improvement requires openness to feedback, willingness to question assumptions, and commitment to learning. Now, reflective leaders are used feedback from peers, subordinates, and stakeholders to refine your approach and enhance effectiveness. In public administration, reflective practice support adaptive leadership in changing environments. No? So you are encouraged to integrate reflection into your professional routines. Through engaging in reflective practice, leaders develop deeper self-awareness and the capacity to thoughtful decision-making, which strengthens leadership performance over time. No? So, yes. Topic number 14, leadership resilience, stress management, and well-being. No? Leadership resilience refers to the ability to sustain performance and effective despite pressures, adversity, and uncertainty. No? Leaders in public administration often face high workloads, no? Political demands, and complex social challenges. And this topic emphasizes resilience as a critical leadership competency. No? Stress management, stress management strategies help leaders maintain clarity, emotional balance, and sound judgment. No? Effective leaders recognize stress signals and apply coping mechanisms such as time management po, boundary setting, and support seeking behavior. So well-being is not a personal luxury, but a professional responsibility that affects leadership quality. So yes, this topic reinforces the link between leader well-being and organizational health. So resilient leaders model healthy behaviors, reduce burnout within teams, and sustain productivity. Students are encouraged to develop personal resilience strategies as part of responsible leadership practice. Topic number 16, leadership in diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. No? So leadership in diversity, equity, and inclusion focuses on creating environments where differences are respected and opportunities are equitable. Take note, leaders play a central role in shaping inclusive cultures through policies, behavior, and decision-making processes. And this topic emphasizes the diversity, equity, and inclusion as a leadership responsibility rather than a compliance requirement. Equitable leadership ensures that systems and practices do not disadvantage individuals or groups. No? Inclusive leaders actively value diverse perspectives and foster participation across all levels of the organization. Because in the public administration, inclusive leadership strengthens legitimacy, responsiveness, and service effectiveness. No? Students are guided to examine your own assumption and biases. No? Through developing inclusive leadership competencies, future leaders can better manage diverse teams, address inequality, and promote fairness in organizational and public context. No? Topic number 17, leadership in complex and multicultural organizations. Complex organizations are characterized by multiple stakeholders, no? Overlapping rules, and dynamic environments. No? So multicultural organizations add further complexity due to differences in values, communication styles, and expectation. So This topic emphasizes the need for adaptive and culturally sensitive leadership. Leaders in such setting must navigate ambiguity. No, you manage competing interests and you foster collaboration across boundaries. Cultural cultural intelligence becomes essential for understanding diverse perspective and preventing a misunderstanding because effective leadership in complexity requires flexibility, system thinking, and strong interpersonal skills. And this topic prepare you to lead in diverse and interconnected environments. Through understanding complexity in cultural dynamics, you as leaders can make informed decisions, build trust, and guide organizations toward inclusive and sustainable outcomes. Topic number 18, focus on supervisory roles and responsibilities in organization. Okay? So, supervisors plays a vital role as the link between executive leadership and frontline employees. No? And their responsibilities include translating organizational goals into operational tasks, monitoring performance, and ensuring that daily activities align with institutional objectives. And this topic emphasizes supervision as both a leadership and management function. So, supervisors are responsible for planning, organizing, directing, and controlling resources to achieve desired outcomes. Beyond task coordination, they are expected also to provide guidance, support, and accountability. No? In public sector organizations, supervisors ensure compliance with policies while maintaining service quality and ethical standards. No? So this topic reinforces the importance of role clarity and responsibility. You are encouraged to understand supervision not as authority alone, but as stewardship over people, processes, and public resources, requiring professionalism and ethical conduct. Module or topic number 19, transition from individual contributor to supervisor. So the transition from individual contributor to supervisor represent a significant shift in mindset and responsibility. New supervisors must move from focusing on personal tasks, completion on achieving results through others. And this change often present challenges related to delegation, authority, and interpersonal dynamics. So this topic examines common difficulties experienced during this transition, such as managing former peers, setting boundaries, and adjusting performance expectation. And effective supervisors learn to balance support with accountability while establishing credibility and trust. So you are guided to develop leadership competencies required for this transition, including communication, delegation, and decision making. Successfully navigating this shift is essential for sustainable supervisory effectiveness and organizational success. Okay? Topic number 20, communication and interpersonal skills for supervisors. Effective communication is a core competencies for supervisors, enabling them to convey expectations, policies, and feedback clearly. So supervisor must communicate across levels, ensuring alignment between management directives and employee understanding. Interpersonal skills such as active listening, empathy, and respect enhance communication effectiveness. So supervisors who listen attentively and respond constructively foster trust and reduce misunderstanding within teams. And this topic highlights communication as a leadership tool rather than a routine task. Because strong interpersonal skills enable supervisor to manage conflict, motivate his or her employees, and maintain positive working relationship in diverse organizational setting. Okay. Topic number 21, building and leading high-performing teams. High-performing teams are characterized by shared goals, trust, accountability, and effective collaboration. Supervisors play a critical role in shaping team dynamics and establishing performance standards. So these topics This topic explores strategies for building teams that leverage individual strengths while fostering collective responsibility. So effective leaders create environments where collaboration, innovation, and mutual support are encouraged. Students or you need to learn that team leadership requires ongoing attention to communication, motivation, and conflict resolution. No? In public administration, high-performing teams are essential for delivering efficient and responsive public services. 22, no? Motivation, engagement, and employee empowerment. Motivation and engagement are key drivers of employee performance and satisfaction. Supervisors influence motivation through leadership style, through recognition, or through opportunities for growth. And this topic examines motivation theories in their applications in the workplace. No? Empowerment involves giving employees autonomy, resources, and in confidence to take initiative and contribute meaningfully. You are encouraged to view empowerment as a strategic leadership practice. No? Engage and empower employees, demonstrate higher commitment, productivity, and resilience, no? Benefiting both organizations and the public they serve. No? Module number 23, focus on performance management and feedback mechanisms. Performance management involves setting expectation, no? Monitoring progress, and evaluating outcomes. So supervisors are responsible for ensuring that individual performance aligns with organizational objectives, and this topic emphasizes feedback as a developmental tool rather than punitive measure. So effective feedback is timely dapat specific at dapat focus on improvement, helping your employees understand strengths and areas for growth. No? You learn that performance management is a continuous process because in public administration, effective systems enhance accountability, service quality, and organizational effectiveness. 24 is coaching, mentoring, and talent development. Coaching and mentoring are essential also in leadership practices for developing employee potential in connection with succession planning. Coaching focuses on improving performance while mentoring supports long-term professional growth. And this topic highlights the supervisor's role, no, in identifying talent and providing opportunities for development. Because effective leaders invest in their people to build organizational capacity and succession readiness. You are encouraged to adapt coaching and mentoring as part of ethical leadership. No. Talent development strengthens workforce competence, engagement, and sustainability in both public and private organizations. Topic number 5, time management, prioritization, and delegations for leaders. Time management is critical leadership competency, particularly for supervisors and executives who manage multiple responsibility and competing demands. Leaders must allocate time strategically to high impact tasks rather than reacting to daily urgencies. No? And this topic emphasizes planning, goal setting, and disciplined use of time as essential leadership behaviors. So prioritization involves distinguishing between urgent and important tasks, and leaders, please, aligning activities with your organizational goals. Leaders who prioritize effectively ensure that limited resources are used efficiently and that strategic objectives remain the focus. Delegation is presented as both a time management and leadership development tool. Ano po? So, hindi pwedeng lagi natin narinig yung kasi we have limited resources. As leader, as managers, no? We need to look into it and use efficient and strategic objectives to remain in focus. Okay? And this topic reinforces delegation as a means of empowering others rather than relinquishing responsibility. Effective delegation builds team capacity, support accountability, and allows leaders to concentrate on strategic decision making and organizational direction. Problem solving and decision making for supervisors. Supervisors are routinely confronted with operational problems. Alam po natin yan. That requires timely and practical solutions. Take note ha, timely and practical solutions. Problem solving begins with clearly defining issues and gathering relevant information before identifying possible alternatives. And this topic emphasizes structures, approaches to problem analysis. Na? Sino nagguguhit-guhit dyan? Okay? Decision-making for supervisors involve balancing policies, employee concerns, and organizational objectives. So leaders must consider both short-term consequences and long-term implications when making decisions. So ethical judgment and fairness are critical components of effective decision-making. So this topic highlights the importance of addressing root causes rather than symptoms. Supervisors who implement sustainable solutions contribute to continuous improvement, organizational stability, and enhanced service delivery. Conflict management and labor relations. Conflict is an inevitable aspect of organizational life, particularly in environments with diverse interests and limited resources. So this topic examines the sources of workplace conflict and the role of supervisors in managing dispute constructively. Because effective conflict management requires communication, empathy, and negotiation skills. Leaders must address disagreement professionally while maintaining fairness and respect for all parties. In labor relations, supervisors are expected to balance organizational policies with employee rights and concerns. And this topic emphasizes conflict management as an opportunity for improvement rather than disruptions. When handled effectively, conflict can lead to better understanding, stronger relationship, and improved organizational outcomes. Okay. Topic number 28, organizational culture and creating a positive work environment. Organizational cultures reflect shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that influence how work is performed. So leaders play a central role in shaping and reinforcing culture through their actions and decisions. So this topic emphasizes culture as a driver of performance and employee engagement. So creating a positive work environment involves promoting trust, respect, accountability, and open communications. So leaders who model ethical behavior and inclusivity fosters psychological safety and collaboration within teams. So this topic now highlight sino nagguguhit-guhit? May problem. Okay, this topic highlight the connections between work environment and organizational outcomes. So positive cultures enhance morale, productivity, and retention while supporting sustainable performance and public trust. Si Ms. Shirley ba yun? Cheryl or Shirley? Okay. 29, leadership in crisis risk and emerging management. Leadership during crisis requires decisiveness, clarity, and resilience. So in this topic, we explore leadership roles before, during, and after crisis, including risk assessment, preparedness, and response coordination. Effective crisis leadership is involved timely decision making under uncertainty and clear communication with the stakeholders. Leader must balance urgency with ethical considerations and public safety responsibility. So this topic prepares you to lead in high pressure situation. Strong crisis leadership minimizes harms, restores stability, and strengthen organizational learning for future risk management. Topic number 30, digital leadership and technology-driven governance. So digital leadership focuses on leveraging technology to improve governance, service delivery, and organizational efficiency. Leaders are expected to understand digital tools and guide their responsible and strategic use. So this topic examines how technology reshapes leadership roles. We need to accept the fact we need to adapt technology. So decision making and stakeholder engagement. Issues such as data privacy, cybersecurity, and digital inclusions are emphasized as leadership concerns. You are encouraged to view digital transformation as a leadership challenge rather than a technical issue, because effective digital leadership enhances transparency, responsiveness, and innovation in public administration. Next, leadership for sustainable development and the sustainable development goals. Leadership for sustainable development involves aligning organizational goals with long-term social, economic, and environmental outcomes. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals provide a framework for responsible leadership and governance. And this topic emphasizes the role of leaders in integrating sustainability into policies, programs, and decision-making processes. So leaders must balance development of priorities with environmental stewardship and social equity. So you learn that sustainable leadership extends beyond organizational boundaries. Through aligning leadership practices with the SDGs, public administrators contribute to inclusive growth and global responsibility. And the final project, Supervisory Action Plan and Leadership Case Study Analysis. So the final project serve as the capstone of the course, integrating executive leadership and supervisory concept learned throughout the semester. So you develop a personalized supervisory action plan that reflects realistic leadership challenges. And this topic requires identifying specific goals, strategies, and timelines for implementation. So the action plans demonstrate the ability to translate theory into practice and reflects professional readiness. So the leadership case study analysis further strengthens critical thinking and communication skills. Through presenting findings and recommendations, you demonstrate leadership maturity, analytical competence, and applied learning. So our textbook serve as a core reference to support our discussions and analysis. However, I want to emphasize that this course does not rely on a single book. Leadership is dynamic and evolving, and your learning will be significantly enriched through the use of academic journals, case studies, and real-world leadership examples. I strongly recommend that when preparing your narrative reports, pre-recorded presentation and actual class presentation, you consult at least 2 to 3 additional textbook references relevant to your topic, as well as credible journal articles. So doing so will allow you to develop a more comprehensive, evidence-based, and well-rounded discussions that reflects graduate level scholarship and executive level thinking. So these references reflect the academic rigor of graduate level course, and you are expected to engage with scholarly literature, particularly journal articles, and to support your analysis and outputs. In executive leadership, credibility is built on evidence-based thinking. So developing the habit of consulting high-quality sources will strengthen both your academic work and your professional leadership decisions. So we have public administration and governance, leadership management and emotional intelligence, supervision, HR policies, and workplace practices. For public sector leadership and governance also, and so on. Now, this course requires discipline, responsibility, and professionalism. Since this is an online and largely asynchronous class, attendance is not about presence. It is about participation and compliance. You are expected to follow schedules, complete requirements on time, and take ownership on your learning. Executive leaders are accountable in this class will reflect the standard. If you miss a session or activity, it is your responsibility to catch up. So to succeed in this course, you must have the proper tools. A laptop or desktop is required as we will engage in presentation, written outputs, and online conferences. You must also have MS Office installed, or you may you adapt Google Docs And the leadership today is digital. So in your ability to use technology effectively is part of your professional competence. No? So your performance in this course will be assessed through multiple components. So pre-recorded video presentation, case studies, exams, narrative reports, individual presentation, and quizzes. And these assessments are designed to measure not only knowledge, but also leadership, communication, analysis, and application. Submission will be done through Google Classroom or Orange App LMS. And professionalism in submission is expected at all times. No? For each student presentation, okay? So you have an individual presentation. I will begin by providing a brief introduction to the topic to establish the context and key focus areas. I will then give the floor to the assigned presenter to deliver the main discussion. After the presentation, I will provide a synthesis and summary of the key points to reinforce learning and link the discussions to our course objectives. Now, during the presentation, if you have questions, clarifications, or additional insights, please post them in the Zoom or class-in chat box. Now, the presenter will address these questions after completing the presentation to ensure an organized and uninterrupted flow of discussion. There is no required number of slides or fixed duration for the video presentation, provided that the assigned topic is discussed comprehensively and with sufficient depth. Now, the focus of your presentation should be on the quality, clarity, and completeness of discussions rather than on length. Ensure that key concepts, theories, and relevant examples are clearly explained and properly supported by credible academic sources. I also expect everyone to observe proper discussions etiquette at all times. No? So hindi ko alam kung anong ginagawa ni Miss Christine, bakit ginaganito ating no? Please be respectful, concise, and academically grounded in your questions and comments. Constructive participation, such as asking relevant questions, offering evidence-based insights, and engaging meaningfully with the topic will be considered as part of your class participation and discussions grade. No? Professional conduct and active engagement are essential expectation in this graduate level course. No? Okay. So to ensure consistency and proper documentation, the format of your file name for all submission must begin with your surname, first name, followed by the specific requirements. No? And this naming convention must be applied uniformly to all outputs, including narrative reports, case studies, video presentation, examination, and final projects. Adhering to this format support organizations' organized record keeping, efficient monitoring, and faster verification of submission. And please follow the provided examples strictly, as improper file naming may delay the review and assessment of your work. No? So the grading system is transparent and outcomes-based. Major exams, class standing, case studies, presentation, and attendance all contribute to your final grade. So this structure reflects the reality of leadership. No? Performance is measured across multiple dimensions, not just one exam. Consistency and engagement throughout the semester are essential. No? So this grading system provides a transparent basis for evaluating students' performance by translating numerical scores into their corresponding grade equivalence and qualitative remarks. So higher score ranges reflect stronger mastery of course outcomes, with ratings for excellent, for fair, indicating varying levels of competency and achievement. So a grade of 5 is assigned to scores of 85 and below, signifying non-mastery of course requirements. And this system ensures fairness, consistency, and clarity in assessment, allowing students to clearly understand how your academic performance is measured and how it aligns with institutional grading standards. No? The honor policy of the master's program outlines the academic standards that the students must meet to graduate with distinction. And to be eligible, a student must not be a transferee, must have no failing grades, and must obtain a final defense grade of at least 1.25 Honors classification is determined based on the student general weighted average with all course grades not lower than 1.25 and is further supported by performance in the comprehensive examination. Distinction rate range from with merit, no cum laude, with highest merit, summa cum laude, reflecting various academic excellence and consistency throughout the program. Okay, so as we formally conclude the MPA 204, the Executive Leadership and Supervisory Development, I would like to emphasize that this course was designed not merely to fulfill academic requirements, no? But to prepare you for the realities of leadership and supervision in complex organizational environments. No? So throughout the semester, we examine leadership from strategic, ethical, emotional, and operational perspective. No? Because, of course, okay, because effective leadership demands both competence and characters. No? You were challenged to reflect on your leadership style, engage in evidence-based decision-making, manage people and performance, and respond responsibly to change and uncertainty. And these are not abstract concepts. They are real responsibilities that you will carry into your roles in public as public servant, managers, and leaders. So the supervisory skills you develop here, communication, motivation, problem solving, and accountability are very essential, no, to organizational effectiveness and public trust. So as we move forward, I encourage you to treat leadership as a lifelong practice rooted, no, in integrity, service, and continuous improvement. So the final project you completed is not the end of your leadership journey, but a personal action plan you can refine and apply in your professional life. I commend you for your engagement and commitment, and I trust that you will carry the principles of ethical, strategic, and people-centered leadership beyond this classroom. No? So congratulations, and I wish you continue your growth and success, and good luck and enjoy the semester. Okay, so